Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Tim Horton here. Guys, the Mercury Pro XS has availability for an alternator upgrade. What comes in the kit? We're going to take the existing alternator, we're going to increase it to 115 amps. It comes with a 4-gauge harness, this wire with a 150 amp fuse. It's going to be easy to install, but we're going to take you guys through the process and show you how to do it. We're going to have to take the cowling off to get started. Guys, this is so simple, but I'm going to show you the tools that you're going to need. Lay it out on the deck of your boat before you get started. Flathead screwdriver, a socket with an extension, 13 millimeter and a 10 millimeter, a set of side cutters, and 3 or 4 just pull ties to get everything secured once you get done. It's that simple. Let's take you guys through the process. All right guys, before you get started, listen to me right here. Unhook your power from your engine. Go in, unhook the negative, everything on the negative, get it unhooked so you're not going to have any arcing or anything happen to your engine. We're going to get that unhooked and then get started. Okay, you guys are going to be familiar with this because you're checking your oil on your 4-stroke engine. Obviously the little push button to get it to come up. Guys, take the oil stick out because you're going to need to get it out of the way, put it somewhere nice and safe where you're not going to get grit on it. I love the little handle on being able to get the cowling off. Simply take it off and set it down. Get it over here out of the way. After you get the cowling off, we're going to take up this rubber dust cover. And all it does is simply go around. It has 3 little bitty flanges that it fits under there. And it simply slides off. I'm going to set it with the dipstick. We got the little dust cover off. Now we get to get the flywheel shroud off. There's 2 simple things we do. We got to undo this hose, simply pull it off. Then we're going to take our flathead screwdriver, and right here you see this hose clamp, loosen it up. Now that that's loose, see it sliding there? We're going to take this off. Take this off, set it aside over here by the cowling. All right, now the alternator is exposed. We can see we got 4 bolts to do here. I want to talk to you guys about how important this is. We are going from 90 amps, this existing one, to putting a new one on that's 115 amps. At the end of the day, after you've ran those big electronics, those big 12, 16-inch screens, most guys in these bass boats have 2 up front, 2 in the back. You've ran your live wells all day. You go hit the switch and you're dead. You can't get back to weigh in. Guys, 115 amps, the big 4-gauge wire with a 150 amp fuse. We're about to juice this bad boy up. All right, what we got now is 4 bolts. We need our 10 millimeter socket. We got 2 here and 2 on this side. Let's take those off. All right, I got the 2 bottom bolts out. And there's a reason I'm taking this apart in order. You've got the torque from the belt onto the alternator. So we've got the 2 bottom ones out. Now we're gonna get the 2 top. All right, I've got this loosened. I'm gonna keep pressure on the alternator this way because this belt has pressure on it and I don't want it to strip these bolts. So I'm just gonna keep a little pressure as that gets ready to come out. And it may or may not. I'm just kind of guessing that that could pull back. All right, a little bit of resistance came back, but not much. And I want to keep these bolts in order. You can see this one's a little bigger. That's the reason we took the 2 bottom off first. Now we're taking the 2 top off. I'm gonna set them down on my boat exactly the way they got took out. All right, we've got 3 bolts undone. Before we undo this 4th one, or before you undo any of them, up to you, but for sure, before you take the alternator out, let's get the cable unhooked. We're gonna show you how to do that. Now, remember, the very first thing that we did before we got started, we disconnected the negative, or the ground, whatever you wanna call it, has been disconnected. So nothing on this engine is hooked up to a hot battery. So let's take the cable off. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna take this little rubber cover off, set it aside. So we got the cover off, now we got to get to this wire. So we're going to take 2 different nuts off here. Get it going. A little light washer behind there, set it aside. All right. And we're going to just take this cable off and set it aside. Get it right there out of the way. Set that nut aside as well. All right. I'm going to remove 1 more cable and it's going to be the 3rd one. You got to have something to be able to fish this. So I'm going to take it, secure it. We've cut 1 pull tie. We're going to pull this next one, cut it. All right, so we got a little fish wire, and guys, that's just a little piece of electrical wire. You can use whatever you'd like. And it's real simple. I'm gonna push this down as I pull this one. All right. So we got our pull wire. We're going to take that off. We're going to undo from here. Take this little boot, pull it back. All right, you got another little pull tie there. Simply clip it. We got our hose out, and we got our fish to be able to pull the other one back through. All right, now a lot of people ask, can I use the cable that's already on my existing alternator? No, you can't do that. You want to put this 4-gauge cable on there. This wire has a 150 amp fuse, heavier duty. We're going to go ahead and fish this back through, so when we put our other alternator on, we're ready to go. All right, we're going to fish that back down in there, underneath there. Nice and clean. Have about the same amount of slack that you had earlier. You can see we got enough to get it to both places. We're going to go ahead and put everything back on this end and have this end ready to hook up to the alternator. All right, the first wire that goes on is the wire to the alternator. Then hook this second wire that was up against it as we started. And guys, I like to take pictures and video, before I start pulling stuff out. That way you've got a reference point as well. All right, real important, get that torqued. Don't strip it, but get it tight. You don't want this to arc. Now we're going to put the next wire on, along with our lock washer. Again, everything unhooked from the battery before you ever get started. Again, same thing here, guys. Get it snug. Don't strip it, just get it snug. You don't want it to arc. You're going to put your boot back on. You got one little tab here that holds that boot on. Make sure you get it back on. All right, we left one bolt connected. Everything's disconnected. Our harness, our new wire is connected, ready to go. We're going to undo this harness, this connector right here. We got one bolt left to do, and the alternator comes off. All right, so our pressure was released when we took this top one off. This is the last top one here. Another long bolt. I'm going to set them exactly the way I took them out. All right, now we just got to work it around the belt, take it out. There we go, simple. We got that out, and we are putting this bad boy on our 15 amp in. All right, as you can see here, what we did, we took the belt off the flywheel. What that did, that gave us slack to get the alternator in there and the belt behind it. Everything's ready to go. We're going to put the belt back on the flywheel. All right, we hop down here. We're going to show you guys the old one that we took out. The new one is in there. We've got the belt behind the flywheel and behind the alternator, but we've got to get pressure on it to be able to get those bolts to line up. So we're going to put that 3/8 inch drive in there. You don't want to strip these bolts. Don't try to put them in until they're lined up. Once it's in, you're going to torque that, get this bolt lined up, get it threaded in, pull your driver out, and you're good to go. All right, we're down to our last bolt. And we got our 4 bolts in. I'm going to put this wiring harness back on, get the clip over the little hook there, the little barb, get it over. We got that snug. All right, remember, we already hooked this up, got the boot back on. Now, all we got to do is put our cable back, get it hooked up, and we're ready to go. Get that started. All right, get that good and tight, don't get no arc. Slide your boot back up, put it back on. All right, we got a boot on. Get the flywheel shroud, get it back on. Just a little hose clamp, just get it good and snug. Hose back on. All right. We got to put the dust cover back on. You can see these 2 little hooks and these 2 little barbs that stick out. We're going to get them underneath. That right there, pull that down, push that back up. Put those 2 barbs in. Everything is clean. You guys check your oil. I like to do mine at least once a month. At least, minimum. If you're using a light, check it more than that. Put the cowling back on. I love this handle. Awesome design on this new Mercury. You don't have to fight it to get it on. All right, get it snug, latch down, boom, we got some juice. We are ready to go.